Now, the Transport Ministry has launched an extension on the Covid-19 Taxi Relief Fund. The fund was introduced in 2022 to assist the industry from the impact of the pandemic. Taxi drivers will now have another opportunity to claim from that fund. Nqobile is joining us live. Nqobile, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. The Minister has addressed all those that were in attendance this afternoon. What are some of those extensions that we could look forward to with regards to the taxi industry?
But at this point, it's just a matter of making sure that people are actually following the criteria. Some of those criteria that she has looked into is, of course, ensuring that you are South African, that you have the license, that you have the permits as well. If you don't have the license, you are able to show that you are, in fact, owning one of the taxis or more. And we understand at this point, based on the fact that you are a taxi owner and based on the fact that you had not gotten the money before, you can get 7,200 rand. But if you had already claimed before, it's about 5,000, it's about 2,200 that's going to come. So those are some of the things that she was just highlighting. But I want to bring her in because she's saying that there's over 700 million that has not yet been claimed. Minister, tell us a bit about the 700 million.
Indeed, when this relief fund started, the government gave us 1.13 billion rand. We're able to spend just about 400 million rand. And therefore, we have a balance of 708 million rand. And that is the money that we want to disperse to the industry. And we did the calculation on the basis of the number of operating licenses that we have in our system. And we then came to the amount of 7,000 rand per taxi, but also looking 7,200 rand per taxi or per operating license. And we also looked at those that had claimed in the past, and we said they can actually top up with the 2,200 rand. If you add that, it takes us to the 7.8 million rand. And that is why we cannot increase this, probably not even decrease it. It's on the basis of the information that we have in our database that made us to reach that amount of money. So yes, it is important for the taxi industry. We believe if it was according to ourselves, if resources were available, we would have actually given them more than that. However, that is the amount of money that we have. That is the balance of what we were given by Cabinet and South Africa to issue to and to disinvest to the taxi industry.
I mean, you've spoken to the taxi industry. Which sort of issues are they faced with at this very moment? Minister, we can't shy away from what we saw. They seemed to be quite angry when they were walking in, and it was a bit of a confrontation there. But we saw that you seemed to find each other. One would imagine that such would be great news. However, there was that moment. What was happening there?
I think it was miscommunication than anything, because we're not aware that they are the caucus, and they expected that we'll join them at their caucus. So we started with the event. So when they heard that the event is already commencing, then that's when they decided to come and fetch us so that we join them at the caucus. So it was an issue of miscommunication, because we're not aware that they are caucusing and they would want us to join their caucus. At the same time, they thought that maybe we're going ahead with the program. And therefore they came to say, no, but come and join us. But they're raising issues that we are aware of. One of them is the issue of subsidization of the taxi industry, which we already have a draft national subsidy policy that is out there for consultation, that we have said to the industry, please participate, because this is the opportunity that once and for all will address that problem. And we explained to them that the reason why for now we've not been able to subsidize the taxi industry, because the policy that we have is actually focusing on the service provider than the user of public transport. So if we therefore introduce the subsidy that subsidizes the user of the transport, and therefore if I'm a passenger in the taxi industry, it will subsidize me, the taxi industry will benefit in that way. So that is what we're looking at, but we have said let them also look into it and let them participate. We have offered as a department to join the taxi industry so that we're able to explain it to them and they therefore can make their inputs. That was the matter, but also to say they want us to increase this very amount from 7,200 to 20,000 per taxi and per operating license. Unfortunately, it cannot, because there is no way we can go back to National Treasury and say add money. Because remember, the lockdown and the regulations for lockdown and COVID-19 have long been uplifted, so they no longer exist. So it's not possible. So what we can spend, it's what is available. But I think they understood our position.
Thank you very much, Minister. I want to bring in the MEC. MEC, great news, of course, for people in the industry in your province. What's your reaction to what the Minister is providing at this point?
Thank you very much. I think as Gauteng, we are ready to assist the Minister in implementing this. And we will put measures in place to make sure that all our taxi operators in the province benefit accordingly. One of the things that we have just said to the agent is that we will be ready tomorrow to meet up with them as the agent that will be assisting in distributing the fund, because already we have a meeting with the Premier and the taxi industry in Gauteng. So we think we can set aside 30 minutes for them to make presentation. Obviously, we think also this is an opportunity to coordinate ourselves properly as the taxi industry in Gauteng. So we will be doing regional roadshows with them, just to make sure that everybody who's supposed to benefit is in the database and they know what the do's and don'ts of the process and of the system.
And if you can just update us, we saw that issue with the taxi industry earlier on in the province. How's that going?
In our province, we have a very good, solid relationship. And what happened earlier, it wasn't a provincial taxi industry, it was the national taxi industry dissatisfaction. But it was a miscommunication, honestly. We didn't know with the minister that they are waiting for us, and we got into the event believing that everybody is there. But it was just a leadership of provinces as well as the national leadership on the miscommunication that is there. They had a caucus, and obviously Minister has just outlined some of the issues they are raising. They increased from 7.2 to 20,000 per operating license in per taxi, and something that is impossible to be done now. And we are committed. I mean, we are all committed. We've put mechanisms in Gauteng, we've put mechanisms of engagement in place.
Thank you very much, MEC, for speaking to us. That's MEC of Transport as well as the Minister. Of course, there was those news of ensuring that the taxi industry will still be benefiting from that COVID-19 fund, which we understand at this very point is a set amount that was left behind, and of course they can't get more. And the taxis, of course, were asking for more because of the impacts that COVID had done to their businesses.
All right, Nqobile, thank you so much for that update.